we do is, don't do that. Turn it off. I'm leaving. One of the things we do is basically put together an avatar to represent who's going to use our software. And that helps us focus on things like usability. If we're aiming it for a 14-year-old who just spends all his time on a computer, as opposed to a 50-year-old who's just getting into or being forced to do it as part of their job, it makes a big difference on how you design things. And if you spend any time on commercial TV, which we seldom do anymore, the good shows are all on streaming services, in our opinion, you'll realize that Madison Avenue in the United States, that's the name, that's what we say, you know, that's what we call all advertising over here. They are focused, their avatar for the customer is like a 25 to 35-year-old male with lots of time and lots of money. It's because that's, you know, that's who they advertise to. Except on one channel that's advertising, you're just constantly advertising Medicaid Part 3 or Part C or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we get these young guys like Joe Namath and
JJ Walker.
JJ Walker and Dynamite, and half the audience is saying, "What?
Who?"
So that's the idea, is you help focus who you're trying to attract. And you know, we have been involved with, I'm starting to get involved with the Worlds of Wonder. That's the science fiction fantasy based one. I'm also in a club that's addressed out of Lincoln but based out of Omaha. We're going to be purely online, which is Tech Talkers. And it's all people who are involved in the tech industry, many of whom really need work on being able to develop their communication if they want to advance. But that's, you know, that's our image or our avatar there of who we want to attract, is somebody who knows some technology and wants to improve other aspects of their life, wants to improve their communication. And there are others, we you know, but that's what you kind of look for. And actually, that's my avatar. I'm this kind of fun-loving guy who's actually looks a little younger than what I am. But you know, that's what we're talking about there. The avatar is the image of the person you want to attract, but it's also the image of what you want people to see your club as. And yes, I've spoken about that to clubs.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of people do you find wandering into your circle? How often do you actually run into people that say, "Oh, ooh, I need to meet that person"? One of the problems that we ran into as Toastmasters is that we got so engrossed in the Toastmasters culture that we're thinking, okay, what kind of friends would we want to hang out with? Well, they'd have to be Toastmasters.
I can give you a couple little examples. I attend a Sunday, call it my Sunday morning support group. It's a Sunday school class I go to, and we're in Bellevue, Nebraska. Bellevue, Nebraska is home, used to be home of the Strategic Air Command. We got this big air base there. Most of the people in the class are retired military. I've been a civilian all my life. One other person who commonly comes was not military, but she grew up in a military family. But they're all people that it's great to hang around with. One of the members is a retired auditor for the IRS. but we have this, we get together and we share how we've been doing, and we do some study. And that's something we've had trouble attracting new members. it's kind of a specialized thing. Now, the couple we're going to England with later this summer, I guess right before summer, we've known them for, I don't know, 20 some years. We really got to know them well on a previous trip to England with a choir group. Randy, the husband, is a Toastmaster of 40 years at least now.
No, 38.
Well, that's almost, almost the same. He is a past international director, past district governor, and he got to know us in 2001, but he never thought I would be a good candidate or would have any interest in Toastmasters. So he never asked me to come to a meeting. She asked me to come to a meeting, tricked me into it. And, not that I ever intended to do so, but I did. I do have a DTM, and I was the district director last year. You never know who to ask. Randy said no for me. Rebecca said yes for me.
I said, carry these trumpets for me.
It's who do you attract? Who does your club attract? How do you see your club? How do you present your club to others? Most community clubs, I think, present themselves as a self-improvement group. Help you. What do you want to improve? We'll help you with it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that because of, I think because of COVID and because of the slightly different chartering rules for specialty clubs, we're seeing a lot of specialty clubs. There was an article in the February Toastmasters magazine that featured 4 of them.
And one of them is the World of Wonder.
World of Wonder. But it's kind of a thing that we started seeing more. Specialty club around Toastmasters club that their specialty is cooking or whatever.
We had one gal who wanted to get one started out, a grandparents group. So they're going to get together and share grandbaby pictures and talk about the challenges of being a grandparent and everything. I said, yeah, but what do you do for the second meeting?
There is an advanced club that's based in Denver that is made up of past district directors. Because that gives that, a friend of mine is a member of that club. She says, you ought to join it. And I said, nah. Why would I? No, but that gives, they have something in common. They have something in common other than belonging to a Toastmasters club. And that can be a powerful thing.
So what kind of characteristics do you look for in a friend? Somebody that you want to become friends with that you are not a friend of now?
As far as Toastmasters is concerned, I just want someone who's breathing to grow our club.
The mirror test.
That's a really, really big net.
Oops, the daisy, I just dropped my laptop. Yeah, sitting in the car park at work, stealing the internet.
The problem with having a big net like that is that it's not specific enough.
Mm.
Yeah. The more specific you get, the easier it is to find people.
Okay.
So if you were just going to go out and look for a friend, not necessarily a Toastmaster, if you were going to go look for a friend, what groups would you join? Where would you go?
Mm.
Boy, that's tough.
Where would you
Everything
go?
I do is solitary. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I used to do a bit of patchwork and quilting because Toastmasters takes up the majority of my time apart from work. So yeah, I guess patchwork and quilting. I do a bit of baking and cake decorating. So I go to cake decorating classes, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, you go into a brand new setting, like a patchwork club or whatever, and you suddenly find people that have 2 or 3 things in common with you already.
Mm.
Because, well, we have one Toastmaster, no, 2 that are really, really into quilting. And
At least two.
one was was she an international director?
She was an international director and
And
she ran for, this was a while back, so whatever the first of the cabinet levels was, she lost her election. And I can't remember who she lost to.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Is that Pat or Floy?
That was Floy. Pat was an international director and regional advisor. They're both quilters. Floy's a little more enthusiastic, or a little more prolific about it. Perhaps she has her own quilting machine.
It's huge.
She's got a work. They built a workroom on the back of their house. It's about 20 feet wide. No, 10
That
feet
could
wide.
almost hold all of her
It had to be long enough
materials.
to hold this quilting machine, which is around 15 feet long. Pat knows where to find one in a shop where she can rent it by the day and not have to put it into her house. But they're both, that's a real habit. And I could see them potentially, that would be something that would draw people together that as a common interest over and above Toastmasters. We both belong to the same two advanced clubs, one of which chartered to help people get to distinguished. And it did pretty well at that. We're still continuing to do that. Although now we're almost full of all just distinguished Toastmasters, but it's been a little hard to recruit the last couple of years. And the other one is oriented towards people who want to become more professional, like, better polished, more professionalist speakers, not necessarily paid speakers, but kick it up another level from what you get. So we have talked about any number of things. We spun off a group that writes books, but it is not a Toastmasters club. We published 6, and this 7th one is getting ready to go to publication. So there's things like that attract people. I already mentioned the tech talkers. We've got a club that, although they're in the district, they're called Upgrade Virtually. It was the one club that chartered last year, and they are oriented about people who want to be able, to communicate better in the modern communication mode, either Teams or Zoom or what have you. Okay, Rebecca wants to talk more. Can't say no to that.
No, you can't say no to that. So, Mark, where would you go to find somebody that would have a lot of interests that you share? Where would you go?
Well, I have actually just joined a new group in my area, and it's called Hiker Babes, and it's women who hike, and it's specifically meant to they have like hikes scheduled twice a week at different spots, and you just show up and hike with the women. You're not alone, and so it's really interesting, and there's all ages and all types of people there from all different walks of life, or it's all women, but it's
Walks.
very, very varied. Yes, the walks of life. Yes. Anyway, I've met a lot of people, and I do, because we talk, and some are retired, and they say, well, what do you do? And I talk about Toastmasters. That's part of what I do now that I've retired. I haven't recruited anybody yet, but it's a start. And
Yes, it is. Because, oh man, can you imagine how much fun that would be to have a specialty club that specializes in hiking and photographs from hiking and stuff? That would be amazing. That would be a lot.
this is worldwide.
Yeah.
Right now it's called Hiker Babes. It's worldwide. Yeah.
And then you could do the same thing with bikers as well. People, I'm not talking about motorcycle, but bicycling. Yeah.
I got a motorcycle.
Oh, cool. And there's motorcycle groups, so we went up to what is that thing in South Dakota? Come on. Sturgis. Like that. And we're sitting there and having breakfast. We are not bikers. We took our kids on vacation, and we had our choice of going up to Sturgis with the bikers or going through Jackson Hole with the president, and decided not to go with the president. We'd be in better company. So we showed up at this breakfast that they were having, and we sat down, and a group of guys came over, and they joined us, and they were like scary looking guys. And one of them takes off his hat, and he's got a gray ponytail attached to the hat. I just said, well, that's interesting. I said, well, I'm an accountant, all of these boring people, I'm an accountant. Oh yes, I'm a fourth grade teacher, and I'm they're like that, and then they put the stuff on, and it was really really fun, because when we're talking about the stuff that they find interesting, we're saying, oh, we have something in common with these people, but so yeah, so the hiking type of thing, what other kind of places would you look?
Well, actually, my husband is a Shriner, so there's a whole organization. He's a Mason and a Shriner, so there's a whole lot there. And when I meet with them, when they have like their spouses with them, then I get to see all the spouses that are working, and he just keeps talking about, this is what I do.
Yep. How do you talk about it? What do you say?
Well, first of all, when they say, oh, how do you spend your time? And I said, well, I do this organization called Toastmasters. And they say, well, what is that? And then I start explaining it's to help you gain confidence speaking. It helps in leadership. And it's just a fun group when we all get together and talk once or twice a week, or depending on like who I'm talking to. And I just go from there. And then if they get interested in a certain spot, well, then you focus your conversation into where they're interested.
Yeah. I usually start with, oh, I'm in Toastmasters. Well, what's that? Well, it's a leadership and public speaking type, communications area, communications and leadership group. And then, I follow it up with a question. Have you ever gotten tongue-tied in front of an audience? Or have you ever wished that the meeting that was supposed to go an hour would quit at an hour? You know, don't you wish there was a hook that you could use to pull people off? If I could show you a way how to do that, would there be any reason why you wouldn't be interested in getting some more information? And then I just wait. They say, we're fine. But you know, you just say, yeah, I bet you are. It's a lot of the time we just, oh, okay. Let me use um, the nurse example. Okay. So what do? Oh, I'm a nurse. Oh, okay. Is that fun? Well, let me see. Yesterday I put in a catheter, and you know how hard it is to get some of those catheters in, and I, you know, there was a little bit in the, no, don't tell me about the catheter. So, oh, and I had to debride a burns patient, you know, pull all that dead skin off. You know, that wasn't real fun. But for lunch we had, so there are some aspects they really don't want to know, you know, so we don't go into detail about pathways or all the acronyms, you know, oh, I've got my CTM, oh, I got my CC, well, I got my, you know, blah, 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 blah. They don't care. You know, you want to join Toastmasters so you can get your DTM. What's that? Don't time me. You know, or stuff like that gets into too much detail. But if you say, oh, well, we get together and we learn how to become more comfortable in communicating and get a chance to practice presentations that we might want to have to give in front of the church or our boss or whatever. We learn how to do really good evaluations. You know, if they're in HR, you know, wouldn't that be handy so that when you're having to evaluate your workers, there was a way that you could talk to them so that they didn't throw things at you. And but if you follow up your information with a question and you make them think, you know, maybe I could use that. And then maybe we could get that information over there. So, oh, we could have 2-hour meetings that actually lasted 2 hours. Maybe we could get something done. There was one group that we were working with. They were a bunch of teachers, and they were all very, very relational and, you know, scheduling type of thing, but they couldn't make a decision to save their lives. And there was one guy out there who said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this and this and this and this and this. Got it. Let's go. And all the teachers are going, well, I don't like that. Do you like that? I don't like that. Okay. But they couldn't make the decision for themselves. They just knew what they didn't like. And after we'd gotten some information going out to them so that they could have a chance to figure out how you could arrange to make stuff easy to make decisions, they went in there, I guess it was like 3 months later, for their quarterly meeting, and they're sitting around, oh God, another meeting. And these, I think there were 4 teachers in the group that went through the program, and they got into the program and they had a plan that worked out. And they said, okay, all right, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. All right, let's get these 2 things worked out. And the teacher said, all right, yeah, we'll do that. And the guy that was going, he didn't know what to think. And then they got through that and they said, okay, now the next project is this. And then they worked on that and got the details worked out, because they're really, really good at planning, but they're not good at making decisions. And they said, okay, now we'll give you a choice between this one or this one, which one you want. And then they would choose one, and then they would say, okay, all right, let's work on this then. And they do that. They got the meeting done in 1 hour and 45 minutes. They got the committee set up. they got all of the details worked out and the deadlines figured out. And the domineering guy just sat there with his mouth open saying, where did this all come from? How did they, and they're going, Toastmasters, baby. But it was because they learned how to work together in a Toastmasters meeting. You tell stories like that, and the teachers will go, oh, yeah, I need to do that so that we don't get, these horrible, horrible sleep bombs from our superintendent. Today we're going to talk about motivation. Oh, no, kill me now. But you know what it's like. So, there's all kinds of different aspects you can do. You can tell a story that brings people in that they can identify with, and you ask them questions, have you ever blah, 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 blah. Have you ever run into a guy that was a keynote speaker that was so boring you wish that you had more food to eat so you could make more noise with your, hey, get off the stage. Where's the dessert? And if has anybody ever asked you to be a keynote speaker, or maybe give a toast at a wedding, or a eulogy at a funeral? And as we get older, we tend to do more of those. And if you've got these questions you can ask, then that raises the curiosity level a little bit more. And once you've got that curiosity up, then you can ask them, if there was a way that you could get that and not have that, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to get more information? Well, we're meeting on Tuesday, and you don't say, oh, well, we meet every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. You don't tell them that, because then they think, oh, I can do that anytime. This is that we have a special meeting on Tuesday where we're going to talk about blah, 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 and whatever your theme is for that week. And then they come and they say, wow, this is great. So how often do you meet? See, but they have to come first. And if you make the next meeting the event, no matter when it is, you have the next meeting is going to be the event. You make up an event. Yeah, it can be, oh, we have a special speaker because you happen to know that John is going to be speaking about bees. We've got a special program where we're going to talk about the moments of truth. And this applies to everything, even outside of Toastmasters. So when they walk into your classroom, what do they feel? When they walk into your business, how do they feel when they walk in? Does the receptionist look up and go, oh God, another one? Or, hi, welcome to our business, And so whatever the next meeting is going to be, that is the event. And it doesn't matter what's going on that meeting. You find out something that's really special about that meeting. And the word of the day is onomatopoeia. Can you imagine that? Right? How many times can you figure that out? Bing, bang, boom, it's snap, crackle, pop. And it's going to be a real interesting meeting because everybody's going to be trying to use that. Oh, we're going to be discussing, I forgot, what are we discussing next time for the, yeah, boy, I've got a memory like a steel sieve. But we're going to have a special presentation by one of our competitors who's going on to international. And we don't have to say, well, she won the club side. But she's won the first step, so let's go and find out what an international really good speeches sound like. And then you can ask her about how long it took her to write it and how many iterations there were and everything. And then we're going to have a normal person go up and speak. But you see what I mean? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I've got a lot of inspiration out of today. Thank you, Rebecca.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Good thing.
Yeah. Mark has 100 stories, at least. No, 200 stories. He could tell. But so, Mark, do you have any questions or any thoughts?
Yeah. Thoughts is I like all the ideas, but what you're doing is giving us sales techniques, right? The tie downs, what to say when people get to
Exactly.
a specific area. So it's like, I recognize the sales tips, but I'm just not ever adapted it to what I want to do. So this is
Right.
great.
Yeah, a lot of times we just throw up on people. Oh, you should be in Toastmasters because, and they go, no, but or you can go on about, oh, we had this great meeting last week. Oh, the speaker was so funny. He was using props, throwing foam rubber bees at people and say, oh, this is a freebie. And people going, oh, goody, I want one of those. And they did. They carrying those around. He says, hey, want a freebie? It's just silly things. Where you can talk about, oh, we studied, what was that? Food insecurity and the kind of stuff that we can do to make sure that people don't go hungry. I mean, and he was very passionate about it, showed us all kinds of statistics and ways that we can work around things to make sure that people aren't getting fed. And we make a big deal about what he said and not the way he said it, because he was so boring. I tell you what, I almost fell asleep, but it was good information. We're not going to tell him that, oh, he was a horrible speaker, but it was good stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Well, are there any problems you'd like to see us address in future meetings?
I just want to hear more and more. I haven't got anything specific. I'm sure you'll come up with the ideas, Rebecca.
Oh, you're putting it all on me. Oh,
You're the leader. You're the leader.
oh yes. What is supposed to be like that?
Well, Rebecca, I I guess the thing that I need to know is, how do you, when they say no times 3, do you let it go, or knowing that they need it, do you let it go, or how can you turn the no's into a yes? I guess is a question.
Okay, that's a good question. That's a good one. How to turn no's into yeses. Okay. All right. So in a couple of weeks, we will do that. Let me get that written down so I know.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Okay. All right. How to turn no's into yeses. Okay, that's a good one. I could talk about that now, but then that's a big thing. You don't want to start that at 9:30. Okay, how about anything else?
Then the other opposite would be how to keep them engaged once they say yes. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye,
Have a
everyone.
good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
We'll see you, Vicky.
Yep, for sure. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Take care.
All righty.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Mark, do you have any specific questions that you'd like us to address?
Not at this point, but if I think of anything during the week, I'll send it to you.
Okay, good, good. All right. Okay. Well, that's all I have for tonight. So if
Well,
there's nothing else,
thank you, Rebecca.
you're welcome. We'll see you.
Enjoy your nice warm days.
Woohoo!
I'm sweating up in my office here. I just,
Oh, poor guy.
I could just see if our weather got that warm that quick, we'd have a lot of floods going on.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's so weird. You know, 70 degrees and then it'll be raining and then in another couple of weeks it'll snow and welcome to Nebraska.
part of it is when we're both on a meeting, we have to close our office doors. So there's like zero ventilation. It's,
And his office gets hot and my office is on the
Right.
north side, so it gets cold.
I'm on the south side and my heat vent is logically right next to the furnace. It gets warm in here.
Goes straight up from the furnace right up to his room. So
Wow.
mine is hiding.
Well, good night, everyone. Have a wonderful week and see you
Good
in
night.
two.
Hope you
Some
feel better.
sooner.
And,
Thank
You
you.
want to
Bye-bye.
yeah.
Yep.
All
and
right.
thank you, Rebecca. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Rebecca and Mark. This is so interesting. I
That's,
love coming here.
that's good.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.